Being a full-time writer is something that you have got to really have a passion for. You can't say, I'm going to go work as a waiter and then write. It's something where you have to put in the time. You have to reinvent yourself when you had a great project. You got to come on and do something different again and really get people to champion it to get the next job. It's always, okay, this job was great, but let's move on to the next. But always being vulnerable, writing from within, going for the next thing that you know people will gravitate toward. But being a full time writer is something you have to live and die for. You can't, you can do other jobs, but if you want to really be a writer, you got to jump in and not be afraid. Everyone has their own road. Like I really chose the road of being the little guy who served coffee, you know, fetched bagels and sharpened pencils as a production assistant and worked my way up to a writer's assistant. Actually got my first script as a writer, but had to step back and become a script coordinator and then jump to becoming a writer. But it's definitely while you're in the system as a writer's assistant, a PA, to keep that in mind. Like you always want to be a writer. You never really want to be the guy serving coffee for the rest of your life, but you constantly tell people, "Hey, I'm writing. I'm doing this story. I'm writing this. I'm writing this great story. I wish you'd read my script." And not pester people, but say, "I'm so passionate about it. I love it so much. I know you're gonna love it if you read it." And so it stays in the minds of the people who are above you, going, I think I like what she's writing. I think I want to give her a chance on the writing staff, or I'll take a look at her screenplay. Maybe, I know somebody who's looking for something that's in her group. And so it's great when you're in the circles of people who are looking for the next thing. But even if you're not, you hear of industry parties, rubbing elbows with people who are looking for people like you is always great. But for me, it's kind of never really happened that way. But more so just continuing to looking for those places to go where there might be somebody who is looking for something like mine, or looking for something that they can invest in and say, we believe in this project, let's get it going. And then the person who really wants to produce it or put it out there will come along. So, rubbing elbows with the right people is always great if that's your road and you're a great people person, talker, and you can do that. Or if you're that person who sits at your desk all day and then finds people who, by a phone call or a friend who likes your project, that kind of, that's another way to go too. To just reach out to anyone who might like what you're doing. But most of all, you have to like what you're doing first. You have to weigh what's really important. If it's killing you that you can't pay the light bill and your kids are hungry, get a job. If you don't have that many responsibilities, or you have this passion and you really want to jump in, you have to just go for it and don't be afraid of the rejection. Know it's going to happen. Know that there's going to be 100, maybe 1,000 doors that are going to slam in your face. Maybe sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board and say, why is this happening? What's wrong with my writing? What's wrong with this? And find those people who will tell you, man, this is not right, or girl, you need to check this. You got to find out why you're getting rejected, and have somebody just be honest with you and tell you really what they think, and just go back, hone your skills, and try again. You cannot, if this is something you know in your heart, this is exactly what you need to be doing, then you need to figure it out and just keep going. Find an audience. There's too much technology. The web has just lent itself to so many producers, writers, everybody. I mean, how many overnight sensations are you seeing on YouTube? And there's too many outlets to give up. I mean, you can blog and get something done, find an audience, and don't give up. You know, if you have something, there's somebody, if there's one or two people that can relate to your story, then there's thousands of people that can relate to your story. You just need to find them.